Hello everyone, I am Daniel Alexandre. I'm student of Foreign Languages Applied to International Negotiations at the UASC, and today I'm going to present who makes money from eggs. The aim of this presentation is to present the business segment of shell eggs, its intricacies, and show its most proficient company in the United States, its competitive advantages and its threats. This is the content of the presentation. On the first topic, we are going to talk about the shell egg business. On the second topic, I will show its most proficient company, Coleman Foods. On the third topic, the competitive advantages and threats. And at the end of the presentation, I will present my conclusions. So, the shell egg business is a $10 billion industry with modest annual growth. They grow about 2.8% per year, which is not huge growth like technology, for example, but they are growing somehow, even though it's modest. Another characteristic about the shell egg business is that it's a commodity type product for most people, right? When you go to the restaurant, sorry, to the grocery store actually, and you're going to buy eggs, most of the people don't care about brands or, for example, oh, I will buy that specific type of egg. For most people, it's equal, you know. They go to the supermarkets, they see the eggs, they say, okay, that's cheap, that looks good, okay, I will buy it, you know. So that's what we call commodity, right? Something that people don't pay that much attention and it's somehow equal when you buy it. Like you can buy from me, you can buy from Lincoln, you can buy from George, and it will be kind of the same product. So they don't have that much value added to it. It's just eggs, you know, it's very simple. Another characteristic of the shell egg business is that it's a pulverized market. It has many players in this market. I will compare this to the telecommunication sector here in Brazil. Well, here in Brazil, we have, for example, Vivo, we have Claro, we have TIM, and it's like Vivo and Claro will be like 40%, and TIM like 20% of the telecommunications. Well, that would be a concentrated market. Few players with a lot of market share. But the shell egg business is the opposite. It's a pulverized market. It has many players with low amount of market share. For example, 1%, 2%, 6%, right? So a lot of players are disputing in this market. But today we are going to talk about the biggest one of them, Coleman Foods. It's the most proficient company in the segment of selling eggs in the United States. Well, if they are the biggest, they probably have some competitive advantages, right? So which one are they? First of all, they are leader in market share. They have roughly 20% of all the eggs that are sold in the United States. Another competitive advantage, which is really related to the other one, it's huge volume. Imagine that you have a very big company and a small company. Which one will cost more to produce a large amount of eggs? Of course, the small company will cost more. So it's cheaper for Coleman Foods because it's sheer size to produce eggs, right? They have millions of chickens. Another competitive advantage is its great logistics. After you produce the egg, in 2 days it will be already in the supermarket. They have great logistics. And another competitive advantage is geographic diversification. So if something happens in one state of the United States, they always have another state that they also produce eggs, or another state that they also sell. So imagine that a natural disaster happened or something, they always have some other place to sell, some other place to produce, which is a great thing to have. Another competitive advantage is its flawless balance sheet. Coleman Foods has zero debt, and also it's constant making profits like year after year. They generally don't have, for example, a year that you can point out and say they lose money on that year. In general, they are being pretty solid as a company. They having pretty solid balance sheets. And another competitive advantage is biosecurity, but I will talk about it more on the next slide. So, which one are the threats to co-main foods? First, it's highly sensitive to egg prices. Well, co-main foods is a company that has one product. They sell eggs. Very simple, right? Um, they don't have another product on their portfolio to diversify, for example. So if the egg prices are high, they are making a lot of money, right? They are going to like making a lot of profits. But if the egg prices are low, are very low, for example, they can start to lose money, right? Um, and that's a threat to the company because eggs in general are commodities for most people. So it's not co-main foods who controls the price of the egg. It's the industry itself. It's offer and demand, right? So that's a threat for the company. Another threat is biosecurity problems. As I told you, one of the competitive advantages of co-main foods is biosecurity. But biosecurity problems is a threat to all the business segment of selling eggs. Why? Because they have living animals. They have chickens that are laying eggs, and people need to be careful about biosecurity on that. Recently, we had avian flu at the United States, and 10% of all the chickens they died. So imagine that you are in a segment that a disease can come and can kill all your chickens, for example. That's a very big risk, right? But co-main foods did great in this last avian flu. They reported that zero of their chickens were committed to the flu, were committed to their flu. So that's great biosecurity, right? Before the avian flu, they had 16% of the market share of selling eggs in the United States. And after that, after 10% of the chickens of their oppositors died, now they have 20% of the market share. So a crisis came and they grew up bigger because they had great biosecurity, right? Another threat is sustainability and environmental challenges. Nowadays, it's people are caring more and more about animal cruelty, and this business of laying eggs is a business that's controversial because the chickens in general, they live in a cage with the dimensions of an iPad for the rest of their life. They just eat and lay eggs, eat and lay eggs. That's their life, right? That's the life of millions of chickens. So people are being more aware and more cautious about that, and they want nowadays that the chickens live in a cage-free situation, right? So the companies are needing to make this transition. Instead of chickens living in the cage, they live cage-free. But this transition, of course, costs money to the companies. So it's really a time that will be challenging for the companies that they need to adapt themselves, and the ones that adapt better will have a better position in the future, right? So let's summarize our presentation. First, I showed the pulverized $10 billion shell egg industry. Then I showed the leading company in the industry, co-main foods, which has almost 20% of the market share of the eggs. Then I showed its competitive advantages, its threats, and now I will present my conclusions. Conclusions, how this presentation can help us in our career. Learning how to do a proper research of a company slash business segment. That's very useful, right? If you want to be an entrepreneur, for example, you gotta know which business segment you are going to enter. If you want to be in a high position of a company, you gotta be able to make decisions based on the industry, based on the company that you are in. Another conclusion is applying strategic planning, which is discipline on our course. Unfortunately, the professor got licensed, so we are not learning that right now, but it's a discipline on our course, and we are applying it right here by doing this research about the company, about the business segment. So this is very useful when applying to a higher position in a company. When you go to interview for a higher position, for example, position that requires decision making, this is crucial, right? Because you are going to show that you know, you understand the business, you understand the company, and by doing that, that increases your chance to be hired. So before you go to a job interview, I recommend you guys to analyze a little bit about the company, right? Analyze where it is, uh, who are they, you know. That's very useful, especially when applying to a higher position in a company. So those are the references. Who makes money from eggs? It's a YouTube video, and also eggs are $10 billion low margin industry, says analyst. Here's with profits. It's a news from CNBC. So thank you so much everyone for watching. That's it.